Welcome to Goat Island. I'm your host, the Big Ka Huzzi, and this is your weekly entertainment and history. First off, we have to ask the question, what's up with series anyways? This is the third week of us building our first series Mount Rushmore, and if you didn't know, the topic is bingeable sitcoms. And this week, the show that's being added to our Mount Rushy is Friends. All in all, the GOAT sitcom of any decade, and the blueprint and standard all series that followed are measured against. Friends places number one overall, obviously. Now, there's still one more week until we get all three major series drops in June, and still though, I think the bear will be good, always is, and despite Ironheart looking mid, we still love Marvel, and we will watch it as if it's as good as Daredevil Born Again, but Squid Games is the obvious pick for series of the month. Let's just hope it doesn't disappoint like last season did. And speaking of Squid Games, it is the focus for the week. And look, it's the third season. It will have 6 episodes, all dropping on the 27th of this month. And I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's a Korean show with a deadly saw-like game for people in debt that has the prize of millions worth of dollars and encourages participants to kill each other. All of this while adding deadly conditions to popular Korean childhood games. If you didn't know this, then please comment the name of the rock you've been living under. In the old days, there was no, why aren't we getting all the episodes? No, there were TV marathons. And, well, binging was what your uncle did on a weekend bender after his girlfriend left him. My point is relax. World's not going to end if you don't get everything all at once, all the time. Go outside and take a walk. Anyway, that series out of the way. So let's check in with the big screen. It's movie time. We're still building our Mount Rushmore of movies one genre at a time. And for our first topic of sports movies, our next pick is Invictus. Because how could it not be top 4? The dramatic retelling of not just a real sports story, but a moment in history that is still mentioned today. This places second overall, which means all that's left is that number 1 spot. And look, the second big movie drop is officially out, with it being a deep cover coming right to Prime. Look, we'll give a better insight next week, but still haven't watched The Ballerina. Probably should, but we've watched this twice. So, yeah, go stream it now. That being said though, there's movies that are enjoyable and movies that are good. And we're sticking with our prediction that The Ballerina, when all is said and done, will be the best movie released in June. But whether it's the most enjoyable is another question. This week's movie that we don't need is Megan 2.0. And that's Megan with an E. And why shouldn't they release it? Because we saw it already. Not everything needs a part 2. Just ask your ex. Enough of series, enough of movies. Let's get to digital streaming platforms and studios. As of this moment, despite deep cover pulling up to Prime, because let's be honest, it's a good funny movie, but Disney Plus has got The Bear and Ironheart coming through next week. And Netflix, thanks to the WWE deal, has had Money in the Bank and will still have the Night of Champions and the massive finale for their hit show Squid Games. At least Disney is being competitive, but I still think our prediction was spot on for Netflix being the DSP of the month. After last week's bombshell from Marvel opening up Fantastic Four ticket pre-sales before DC opening the pre-sales for Superman, despite the Kryptonian landing in cinemas 2 weeks earlier than the first family, it seems as though DC is steady right behind Marvel, with their screenings and analysis indicating that not only will their pre-sales be massive, which began a couple of days ago, a little less than a week ago, but that their first weekend at the box office might be record-breaking. But we'll see, because I remember Justice League was also supposed to be massive, and we all know how that went. This week's headline isn't from Marvel, Big Bang DC, but actually comes from the smaller superhero studio. And reports have come out that the budget for Superman is way higher than we thought, and what was initially stated, whilst James Gunn and DC have said that it's around $2 million after tax and bonuses. It's been revealed that a budget of around 200 additional million has been allocated for marketing, which means a total of almost $500 million. Crazy numbers, DC. At this point, even we are hoping that this is a good movie, because I mean, they need $1 billion just to break even at this point. And for our top 5 of DSPs and studios, we're still focusing on Sony Pictures this month. And this week's reason why Sony Pictures is obviously in the top 5 DSPs and studios is it gave us some of Will Smith's best movies. And even though we don't fuck with him since that viral moment, these movies were way before and part of the reason he was taken seriously as an actor. Sony Pictures gave us Men in Black, Pursuit of Happiness, Hitch, and Bad Boys. How can Sony not be top 5? Damn it. Next week, we'll give you the last reason of the month why Sony is top 5 and give you its ranking in our top 5 overall. One thing I've always heard repeated is those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So let's not be those people, because it's time for history. This week's messiest man in history, Pope Alexander VI, the original God's favorite, but also definitely Satan's side piece. Let's be real. If the Catholic Church had a reality show in the 1400s, this guy would have been the chaotic main character and the producer. Who was he? Born Rodrigo Borgia, and yes, that's Borgia family, the blueprint for corruption, nepotism, and medieval thirst traps. He bought his way into the papacy, bought as in bribed a bunch of cardinals like it was a silent auction at Howell's fundraiser. Hosted Vatican parties with dances, orgies, and actual banquets where prostitutes were rewarded with gold for picking up chestnuts with their mouths. This isn't shade, that's from an actual document. Had multiple mistresses and fathered at least 7 kids. One of them, Caesar, he made a cardinal. Another, Lucrezia, he allegedly used in shady political marriages, like she was a Pokemon he was trading for influence. Oh, and once he tried to sell salvation, literally come to the Vatican gift shop, our sins are 50% off. Bro said holiness is optional and turned the papacy into a mafia franchise. Imagine calling yourselves God's rep while throwing a Vatican-sponsored frat party. This week's cinematic flop is Pearl Harbor, also known as World War II, but make it horny. This film had one job: tell the story of a surprise attack that changed the course of history. But what did it do instead? Turned it into a love triangle between Ben Affleck, Josh Hartnett, and us. Because when bombs are falling and the world is at war, what we really need is relationship drama. They spend more time filming slow-mo kisses than actual history. Whole scenes look like a Hollister add with fighter jets. The bombing, which in real life was 90 terrifying minutes, was dragged out with slow shots, heroic angles, and dramatic orchestral swells, like Michael Bay thought he was directing Titanic 2, Airstrike Edition. And don't get me started on the Doolittle raid subplot, which was shoved in at the end like a post-credit scene just to make Americans feel better. If history was the goal, this movie tripped, fell, and landed in a Nicholas Sparks novel. Trauma, but make it cute. Let's talk about the Dancing Plague of 1518, also known as the most cursed flash mob in history. Strasbourg, France, July 1518. A woman walks into the street and starts dancing. No music, no crowd, just pure unsolicited vibe. But here's the twist. She didn't stop. She danced for days, no breaks, no sleep, no shoes. Just possessed Zumba. Then more people joined in. Not a few, dozens, then hundreds. Local authorities were like, mood? And literally hired a band to keep the groove going. Spoiler though, it got worse. People danced until their feet bled, they collapsed, and some even died of exhaustion, heart attacks, or possibly just existential cringe. Historians still argue about what caused it. Mass hysteria, poisoned bread, or literal curse. Either way, the town basically got served to death. This wasn't a rave, it was a full-blown medieval glitch in the Matrix. And you thought TikTok challenges were dangerous? Imagine Harlem shaking until you meet God. Now this might be an interesting fact from history, but would it make a good series or movie? Well, let's be real. No, it wouldn't. But as a series, it would be like a 2 out of 10 at best. And as a movie, maybe it could be a 4 out of 10. But I mean, I don't think people are going to be buying tickets or setting time aside at home to watch an ancient dance party that ended in tragedy, because that doesn't sound that much different from parties today. That's a wrap for this week's entertainment and history drop. And you can like and subscribe. And if you have any thoughts, drop a comment. And from Goat Island, this is the Big Ka Huzzi. We'll check you again.